toughest strongman in history, right here.
It's not a beauty contest. This is Strongman.
Have to be alive if you can't do deadlift. And away we go!
Welcome to the Giants Live Strongman podcast, and today a very special guest I rarely get to see, Mr. Darren Sadler, my partner in strength for his misfortune. But Darren, we've just seen the groups being chosen and been put out. Interesting reactions. Should we go through the groups together?
Yeah, let's go through them.
Yeah, okay. Well, Group
I'll
1.
let you read them out.
Group 1, Konstantin Janashia, Pavlo Kordiaka, Pa O'Dwyer, Tom Stoltman, Bobby Thompson, and Eddie Williams. It's a who's who of strongman, and that's Group 1.
It's a tough group, yeah. I mean, your favourites in that group, without a doubt, would be Tom Stoltman, and I would say probably Pavlo Kordiaka after his performance in Europe's Strongest Man. But I think, I've said it before, I think Pa's got really good events this year. Probably the best events Pa's had in a show. Bobby Thompson, massive deadlifter, massive presser. Eddie Williams has grown stronger and stronger. He's done a couple of shows for us. He hasn't, when he's done them shows, he's had late call-ups and not had a full training camp. He tells me he has now, which hopefully will make a big difference. And then Janashia, who always does well. He never does bad in the show.
No.
Is he as good as he used to be? Possibly not, but he's still very good. He's still a possible finalist, and he's been a finalist. So yeah, that is a strong group.
Let's remind ourselves of the events quickly before we kind of do any more assessment here. We've got loading. So you're going to need some speed, and it's a hard load, isn't it? 5 implements in the first event.
Yeah, and also it's on sand, which does make things a lot harder. And on sand, things are a lot more likely to go wrong. You know, fall over, and obviously they're constantly making holes in the sand with the feet. Some of these guys are nearly 200 kilos, carrying 150 kilos. So they're going to be big holes in the sand.
I think there'll be quite a few men who don't finish it. It's a hard load.
Possibly.
So it's not just a speed thing, it'll be endurance. Our 2 static events are log ladder, basically 300 pounds to 400 pounds, or best part of, 130 kilos to 181.
Yeah.
So that's not an easy log ladder, as we've seen, especially with nothing to actually fix your gaze on. It is harder to press outside, isn't it, with the sunshine?
Well, interestingly, in that group, we had the same weight log ladder at Europe's Strongest Man, and only Pavlo Kordiaka finished it. And you had big pressers like Hicksy and these guys there that didn't finish it. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see what everyone does there.
Yes, indeed. Then we have the machine deadlift, which, of course, you're a champion. We've all seen that clip many times, hopefully, when he took on Mariusz Pudzianowski. But then it was for time. Explain the difference now.
The difference is now we're doing it just for reps. So there's 6 barrels going. You lift it first empty. So there's 7 lifts. It ranges from about 290 to about 380. When it's finished, it's about 385. If you get to the last barrel, you just keep repping, basically. So it's just a rep event. 75 seconds, so it's going to be hard. And it's a slightly different technique with a pivoted system than a normal bar. So hopefully the guys have done the homework on how to set the legs up, basically. It's not just like a normal pull.
Last time we did log ladder, do you remember who won? And it'll surprise people if they don't remember which one it was. WSM 2020?
I think it was Tom Stoltman and Jerry Pritchett that did them quite easily.
That's right, yeah, indeed. Yeah, though Bobby Thompson and Big Pav was the guy who finished the log ladder at Europe's Strongest Man.
Yeah, the only person, yeah.
So it's going to be a pretty brutal one for those guys in this group anyway. And that will come down to time, I'm sure. We have the kettlebell toss, which will be certainly one for the athletes. It doesn't always suit the giant because the giant doesn't always have rhythm. Tom does have good rhythm.
Tom's very good at it, yeah. Tom's very good at it. I can imagine Pavlo is as well because he's very long. We've also got Conan's wheel, which Pavlo's got the world record in now. It was also mine. And so Pavlo basically is unbeaten at that, and he looked brilliant at it, let's be honest. I can't see anyone beating him on that.
You don't think someone like Tom Stoltman, he's got pretty immense endurance, Tom?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. If you had to pick someone, possibly it would be Tom, but I think Pavlo takes some beating on it. Because he's just that little bit lighter, I think he can go a bit longer with the Colin's wheel.
It's 500 pounds in the hand, so it's going to be slightly heavier than it was at Europe's Strongest Man. And I remember a great strongman Big Ed once saying that when I sort of accused him of not having good fitness, he said, "Yeah, but you know, when you're as strong as me, you don't have to be that fit because they're so light."
Yeah. There is that.
So there is that. Let's not forget. And then we'll have the stone off. So, looking at those events, who do you see winning and who do you see stoning off?
I see. Honestly, I probably see. People might disagree with me here. Probably Pavlo winning that group, and then Tom doing the stone off with someone else, and then God help who is against Tom in the stone off.
Wow.
I don't think Tom's got a lot of pressure going into stone off in that group. If Tom cruises through in second or third, you know, with all due respect to the guys, and you know, things can go wrong. But I just think Tom doing a stone off against Tom's like what nightmares are made of. You know. So I think if Tom cruises through, I think he only has to come second or third, and he's got the stone off.
Do you see him going against Bobby or Parr?
Probably Parr. Just my prediction. I think Parr's got a good chance this year.
Did you see Eddie Williams in the kettlebell toss and the load?
Yeah, he looked good. Yeah. I mean, the good thing about all these groups, I'm changing my mind all the time about how they're going to turn out, which means it's going to be a great show.
Let's move on to Group 2 then, guys. And in Group 2, we have, this is alphabetical order, Iron Bibby, finally, at World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
Looks a little pensive, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Gavin Bilton, the big Welshman, who really was on fine form at Britain's Strongest Man, never looked fitter. Fadi El Masri, who is probably the most unknown quantity in WSM of all the 30 men, I'd say. The Northside Giant, as he's known, competing for Lebanon, lives in Australia. Tom Evans, who impressed everybody at the Arnold's. Of that, there is no doubt. He won the amateur Arnold's, came top 5, or 5th in the Arnold's, if I remember correctly. And still I thought, well, World's Strongest Man is a different show to WSM. But we really got a flavour of Tom because he came here initially as tester and very early on, and he tested a bus, and my goodness, that guy could pull a bus.
Yeah,
now, that's in the final. That's in the final, but
yeah,
impressive, wasn't he?
I mean, if you look at that group, really, I mean,
finish it off. Yeah, finish off the last couple of names.
Obviously, we've got Alexei Novikov and Tom Stoltman in there. Massive names. Luke Stoltman, sorry, yeah, not Tom. Tom's in Group 1. Yeah, so Luke Stoltman. So obviously, you have got the big names there. The two favourite names would be Novikov and Luke.
Yeah.
Luke didn't have a very good showing at the Arnold's, but that doesn't mean everything.
No.
You know, you can get anyone can have a bad show. I don't think Tom had a particularly great showing there, but you know, everyone still thinks he's going to win Worlds, so I don't think that really matters. These guys have taken this show really seriously.
Do they think he's going to win Worlds? Online, I feel like it's pretty even between Shaw, Alexei, Mitchell Hooper is a force of nature.
I think Tom and Luke have turned up here looking very good, I've got to say. When I saw the pictures of them, I wasn't at the Arnold's, but they looked a bit flat. They both look physically in shape here, I've got to say. In that group, you've obviously got Novikov. Like, the man's an animal, you can't ever write him off. So, you know, he'll prove you wrong if you do. Then he had problems at Europe's Strongest Man, couldn't load the last stone. Again, had a bad day, but just one bad day doesn't mean they're a bad strongman. Iron Bibby, loads of power, massive power, but a bit inexperienced at World's Strongest Man, or a lot inexperienced. He's never done it, you know.
Hence the reason he's a bit pensive.
That's it.
He's walking around here a little bit nervous at the moment, and I think it'll be good for him to get off the start line to kind of feel those big muscles working.
Definitely, yeah. Gav Bilton, who's just steadily getting better all the time. We keep seeing it at Giants Live. It just gets better and better. People love him. Faddy, who just looks absolutely massive. Don't know anything about him, but he looks like he's going to be strong as hell.
He was good in the yard, wasn't he?
He was good in the yard. He looked confident.
He's got big numbers.
Yeah.
He's lifted some big deadlifts.
That's one of those guys. He could be brilliant. No one knows a lot about him. He's not been against these guys before. And then Tom Evans, I don't know, everyone just seems to have a good feeling about it. He seems very gutsy. He did well at the Arnold's. Yeah, I think that's going to be one of these groups. There's going to be a few shocks in there. And I think the big names, Stoltman and Novikov, are going to have to just make sure they bring their A game, because there's a few people underneath them that, end of the day, people were going to want them top two spots, simple as that, and they'll be trying as hard as they can. I don't think that that Luke or Novikov can rest on the laurels. Let's not forget, Novikov didn't make it to the final 2 years ago.
Yes. I was about to say, I would say this is the one group with the most amount of chance for a new guy to come charging through. The likes, because Bibby's new to Worlds, you know what I mean? And I can just see a bit of a shock. Tom Evans, I mean, he actually looks kind of short from a distance until he keeps getting closer and closer. He's a good 6'4", I'd say, maybe 6'5".
I think Luke and Alexei are obviously world class, but I think they've got to bring their A game just to make sure that they keep enough points to go through. And I think if Luke ends up in the stone off, Luke's got great stones as well. You know, he could
Alexei?
If Alexei ends up in the stone off, well, the thing is, if Alexei ends up in the stone off, he couldn't do the last stone at Europe's, which doesn't mean everything, but it did happen. You know what I mean? He couldn't load the last stone. So
having said that, Iron Bibby's one weakness has been stones in the past, where he'd be facing Bibby in that.
Yeah.
Tom Evans, I don't know enough about his stones to even comment, actually. My guess is he has done his homework. He's a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
He's seems wise way beyond his experience, so who knows?
We don't know about Faddy. We know Gav. He always bangs all the stones up at our shows. You know, Gav's a good stone lifter. He's not going to go down easy if he gets stones. You know, there'll be a battle there.
They're calling this one, or some people are anyway, everyone's a group of death. Let's not even go into that.
Yeah.
Group 3 then. Let's have a little chat through this one. Arguably the most statically strong guy here, Graham Hicks.
Yeah.
The guy, I mean, you ask Brian Shaw what he thought of Graham Hicks when he went and trained. From what I understand, the jaw hit the floor in some of his pressing work. Mitchell Hooper. I mean, this guy, he was found in a crater, you know, like Superman was. He really is. He's just, if his graph is anything to go on, 8th was his worst finish last year, and that was in World's Strongest Man in his rookie year. And then he kind of went 3rd, 2nd, 1st. So he has to be a massive favourite for WSM, or one of the favourites anyway. Kilishkovsky, how can you not say his name without a smile? It's so nice to see him back. He's the Terminator. He just will not stop. He's so talented at everything. This is the big time to the reckoning, as it were. Is he the man he once was? We then move on through Matt Ragg. That guy could press the universe, I think. I've never seen a more powerful set of chest and shoulders. As for Spencer Remick, coming of age at the right time. And do you know what he said to me? He said, I'm kind of glad I didn't make World's Strongest Man before, because now I'm not just here. I'm here to fight. I really feel good. Nice. I can do well here. And then finally, Ivar Smaugstelis, World's Strongest Man finalist. This guy is tough as anything. You would not want to end up in a stone off with Ivars. That guy will not. He won't let it go, will he?
No. I mean, I think Ivars, me and Terry were chatting earlier on, I think he's so underrated, but he's always on the podium. He was on the podium at Europe's, he was on the podium at Glasgow, he's been a finalist before, but he flies under the radar. He's not a big, if you want to say, household name like some of the guys, but he's a big point taker, and he hasn't got a bad event. Spencer, another guy that came through official strongman, just gets better and better. Matt Ragg, like you say, and today you've got a log pressing event in there. You got Hicksy and Matt Ragg in there, the two massive pressers. I think Hicksy's going to have to make sure he gets his skates on and gets through that. Kilishkovsky, great to see him back. Came second at the Arnold, so he's obviously on form. Everyone loves to see him do well. The last time he was here, he was on the podium, and everyone thought he was going to win it. The last time he was in his best condition, which he looks great, he looks huge. And then Hooper, like, wow, you know, if he, like you say, if he's improved a little bit, well, he's probably going to win World's Strongest Man. He's so good. He doesn't really have a weakness. He's confident. That's a hard group. Simple as that.
Hey, Strength fans. I think it's a pretty well-known fact that Giants Live and the best strongmen in the world are rather partial to picking up a used car or two. But we must admit that our cars are never under 8 years old. And as for the engines, well, they don't even have engines.
That is so close! Wow, that's fast! He just attacked the car!
However, at Hey Car, you buy only the best used cars on the market. All cars come with a warranty, 10-day money-back guarantee, and they're sourced from selected dealers only.
Look at the speed! Wow!
Unlike our beat-up bangers, every car is under 8 years old, and has less than 100,000 miles on the clock.
And I'm pretty sure it'll be a world record.
You could browse the range at heycar.co.uk, or why not go to the App Store or Google Play to download the Heycar app. That's spelled HEYCAR.co.uk. See? Strongmen can spell.
Let's move on to group number 4 then. Here we go. Group 4. Once again in alphabetical order. Adam Bishop, who is still to be tested in a way on his tricep. We saw it at Europe's Strongest Man. That is his Achilles heel, if you like. But everything else certainly looks in fine form. Has to be one of the favourites for this group. Kevin Ferris, who write him off if you are a fool, because that guy is just pocket dynamite. Rauno Heinler, who big Loz, Auntie Liz, hello. Hope you're well back home. Shame you're not here, but massive fans of Mr. Heinler. Who isn't? The guy's been toughing it out for years. Biggest deadlift in the world last year.
And he's a master. He's over 40. He's got the biggest deadlift.
He certainly do well in the deadlift, that's for sure. I can't really see anyone beating him in that. That would be, except maybe Bishop. Bishop is also a monster deadlifter. Gabriel Reum, who is a WSM finalist. I think it would be easy to write him off as a flash in the pan, but again, I think he'll have a lot to prove here, and he's already made a WSM final, so he'll be bags of confidence. The man with the greatest name in the world, Jacko Schoonwinkel. He was really pleased with his group. He said it to me out there, and he was chatting to whoever on FaceTime, and he was very confident. It's the only way to say.
Another guy, he's earned his way for an official strongman, did really well there.
Yes, he did. And then, who's this last guy again? What's his name?
Big Shaw.
Big Brian Shaw, who I have to say, well, besides the fact that he is, just one of the most magnificent strongmen of all time, he looks cool as a cucumber, doesn't he?
He looks relaxed.
Yeah, scarily so.
Yeah. Like you just said, you got Gabriel there. Was he lucky getting to the final last year? Well, he got there. Jacko Schoonwinkel earned his way here by rights to official strongman. Kevin Ferris, just as hard as nails, never gives up. Not a massive deadlifter, but probably pretty good at everything else. I can't see him being bad at Colin's wheel. He's a good thrower, and he's really good at loading. Bish, who's pretty good at everything. Like you say, a bit of a question on that tricep, but him and Heinler head-to-head on a deadlift is interesting. That's massive. They're both so good, and I've been watching them recently on the YouTube videos. They're both pulling massive weights, so that's going to be hell of a deadlift group. And let's not forget, Shaw can pull the deadlift. So, that's interesting.
And did you what? Because you were watching, we went through familiarization where all the guys get to go at all the events. And Brian, not in any form of arrogant way, not remotely, but he was actually helping the other guys throw. And he didn't, did he even do one toss? You think he did one toss? Yeah. He's on a different level when it comes to that event. Bish was probably about the second best in any group at throwing the kettlebells, but Brian is just supreme at it.
Well, this particular event, Brian's the only one who's got them all over, I believe, anyway.
I believe our Russian did it, Shevlyakov, in 2018, and there may have been one other, but we actually dropped it down to this height that year. It was 6 inches higher previously in Malaysia. Yeah. So you are indeed right. Brian's done it at the high height, but this is a fractionally lower.
But Brian will be going into that with some confidence because he's going to throw them all over, let's be honest.
Let's face it. Even if he finishes second or even third, as he did last year. Would you want to face down Brian Shaw?
Who's going to beat him in stones in that group? If he ends up third and he goes up against any of those guys in stones,
impossible. They've
got a nightmare. So if Brian ended up third in his group, I still can't see him not going through.
Yeah. I quite agree with you, to be honest. As for who goes through with him, I think it's almost evens throughout there.
Yeah.
From Ferris to Bishop, Heinler, Reum, and
that's
Schoonwinkel, we don't know enough about.
We don't know enough about. But I think that's going to be a really interesting group to watch. And again, I think you just see some surprises in there. It's not a straightforward thing. He wins that. Who's going to win that deadlift? Who's going to win that log? You look at it, you think, who knows?
Right, the final group, and in this quick roundup, It is Jean-Stéphane Courabouf, Coco, who's competing for France here. Mark Felix, the miracle man, and miracles do happen. He's 57 years old. He's stealing your record, Odd Haugen. Hope you're well, mate. One of our earlier podcasts with Odd. I haven't seen him here yet. Hope he's coming along. That'd be great. Ithor Ingolfsson Melsted, who just has you can't help but make the final. That's just what he does. And then we have Trey Mitchell, who's the most brawny, powerful man in the world. That guy has just static power oozing out of him. Shaw Classic winner. The final two then, Evan Singleton. I wouldn't say the unknown quantity. The very well-known quantity could win the group, could win World's Strongest Man, but just he's the biggest hit-and-miss guy you've ever seen. And then Paul Smith, the mailman who can deliver. But Paul, as we know, is a terrier of a competitor. He will dig in and fight in every event for every point. It is his second World's Strongest Man, and this time he isn't just getting the nod 5 seconds before he goes out like he did a few years back.
Well, this is the group. No one. There's people saying, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the group of death. No one's really. Look, from what I've seen, nobody's saying this is a group of death, right? Well, I totally disagree. Because Coco, he almost got to the final last year, did really well.
Agree.
Felix has still got a lot of life in him. He's still very good at a lot of events. Still a hell of a deadlifter. He's good at loading.
Just log.
Just the log he's going to do better at, but that's one event. And if you got against Mark in the stone off, Mark can lift stones. Mark,
all day long, he's so fit.
Any of those guys, obviously, Trey's the favourite on stones, but I probably see Trey maybe not having to do stones.
Winning it.
Yeah.
I would say so.
So we've got Melsted, who's twice got to the final. That's not luck. He got there twice. He's just a ball of muscle. He's good at everything. He just came 4th or 5th at Europe's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
Trey, who's won the Shaw Classic, and he's just unbelievable. He doesn't have any bad events, and God help you if you get him in the stone off. Evan, who has won a number of Giants lives but never performed at Worlds. I hope this year he does perform, but we know he's got the credentials because he keeps winning our shows.
Well, he did perform at Worlds, but he went from winning, because we now do all the same events across all the groups. And am I right in saying he certainly won one event across every...
He got the fastest on the car walk.
He was just absolute dynamite.
But he's been plagued with illness at World's Strongest Man, basically.
Yeah.
And then Paul Smith, who, people see Paul's a bit of an underdog. Paul's had a good year this year. A calendar year. He did great at Royal Albert Hall. He did great at Britain's Strongest Man. And he does not give up. The last time he was here, in my opinion, he was here to make up the numbers. This time he's not. He's got a bit of fire in his belly now. And if you watch him at Britain's Strongest Man this year, he was there and he wasn't making up the numbers. He was there and he was competing and he puts a lot of work in there and he doesn't give up. And I think you might see some sort of spurts of greatness from Paul Smith. I've got a feeling that he's going to really put his foot down here.
Okay, so we've gone through the groups. We can imagine who might make the final. But then again, I think we've never seen 30 men who are more... You've normally have got 10 guys who you can write off, can't you? I wouldn't say that about this.
I think what you've got is, this year, you've got certain people that are just good at certain events, which will mess the groups up. Yeah. It's not like, right, that guy's going to be good at everything. Some of them have got good events, bad events, and that's what makes it interesting.
Something no one's talked about, or maybe they have online, so I apologise if you have online, but give me your winner across all groups for each event. Now, that isn't something you've thought about, is it?
Okay.
Go on then. Who wins the loading across all the groups? I've put you on the spot here big time.
I think probably Hooper.
Yeah.
I think probably Hooper or Kodiaka.
Singleton?
Possibly, yeah. We can't say everybody, can we?
No,
I was only meant to give one person.
Okay, all right,
but yeah,
right, okay.
I mean, I go for Hooper with that because he's so good. He's good at his transition.
Yeah. Let's look at the static events. You've said Hooper.
Okay.
Let's go to the statics. Log. Cross all 30.
Well, if you want to go by what's just happened, you've got to say Kodiaka, but I'm going to say log Iron Bibi because he's just so light for him. If he can get between them fast, Iron Bibi will press him like the nothing.
Because of the sheer firepower.
He's just so... He's not the fastest guy, but they're not even heavy to him.
Is a 400-pound heavy enough to slow down Mitchell Hooper.
Yes, I think so, yeah. Because a 400 pound at the end of a log medley is heavy. It's not just like doing it for a single, it's totally different. We've seen that.
Did you watch Mitchell Hooper? Very few men put their hands on the log because they know it well. He didn't just put his hands on the log. Do you see what he was practicing as he put it down?
Yeah.
No, but it was as he put it down, he then was practicing his hurdling over.
Diving over.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, that's a big part of it.
That's it. I thought, wow, I like your style. Goodness me. The other static event, of course, is our deadlift. Who's the biggest deadlift here? Who's the big dog?
You've got to give it to...
And do you know what I like about this? Last year, it finished in a ladder. A lot of guys did it, and you could say, well, he did it slower. I think Mitchell Hooper won it last year.
I'm giving this to Ralno, though. I think Ralno's going to do this because he's so consistent. Okay. I think Ralno's going to be the best deadlifter there. Okay,
I like that. You don't think Hicksy here?
I think Ralno. I don't know. I have a feeling it's Ralno. Ralno just always pulls well on deadlift.
He does.
Especially when it's heavy.
He's so gritty.
Yeah, he likes it heavy, you know.
He likes it heavy. Fair enough. Okay, Conan's wheel?
It's just going to be Koriaka's going to take that.
Okay.
Unless, of course, we haven't seen Hooper do it. I've got a feeling Hooper's going to be very good at it, but Koriaka was so good at it. He was so good at it.
Okay, interesting. I'm not going to say anybody because it's not for me to say, really. And then Conan's wheel, we have kettlebell toss.
Brian
Shaw. I'm going to say one. Brian Shaw.
Brian's won that, yeah.
Okay, you beat me to that one. And stone-offs are stone-offs. Yeah. Well, I think we'll probably just call it a day there. Just a quick chat. Yeah. And maybe we'll come back again and have a little chat once.
See if we were right.
Yeah, well... Yeah, we could be very wrong. Who knows? This is going to be a very strange year. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy. Well, hopefully you'll be down there watching it ringside, volleyball, beach side, whatever you want to call it. We are down by the Ripley's, believe it or not, in Myrtle Beach. So if you can come along, it's going to start tomorrow, which is the 19th of April. 20th, and we have a day off on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd is the final. We'll discuss a bit more about that in a couple of days' time. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoy it. Cheers.